Hi, so today we're going to be working on termites and their symbionts, the data for the assignment. And so, word of note, I added day 4 new pieces, and you'll have to as well for container 1 and container 2, and these were the new pieces that we would treat with water before we allowed the termites to feed on them. Okay, right here you can see this is blank, and that's because I'm going to help you guys fill out the data for that. So let's go to the Excel chart. So if we look at the Excel chart, you can see I put in data for all the tables except for weight of termites. And a quick way to do averages in Excel is to go to the cell, click on it, and type average. All right, and then press the tab button, and then you select whatever cells you want, these 3, and it tells me the average for these 3 columns. And then you just drag it across, and it autofills all the averages here. Okay, so these are the 3 charts we're going to create today, and then we're going to analyze them. So first, step 1 is you select the averages you want to take. You want to make a chart from. Click on the chart button. Go to cluster column. This is what we want. Okay. And then you right click and hit select data. All right, and we're going to edit this series. We're going to call this water treated. Okay. And then we're going to add another series, antibiotic treated. For this series, we're going to select these 4 averages right here. And then the last step is horizontal axis. We're going to select the days of the horizontal axis. So that way, down at the bottom here, it shows everything the way we want it. Okay? And then for here, you're going to put on axis titles, chart title, legend, and data labels. And why don't you make this a little bit bigger too? So we'll get back to that in a second, and we'll name it. All right, so do the same thing here for weight of termites, charts, cluster chart, or cluster column there, and then right-click, select data. We're going to edit this series to call it water treated. And then we're going to add another one called antibiotic treated. And we're going to select these 3. All right. We're going to edit the horizontal series again for days. All right. And then we're going to turn on the axis title, chart title, data label, and legend. So for the chart title for the wood consumed chart, it's going to be wood consumed. All right. For the axis, y-axis title, we are going to choose wood consumed, and this is going to be in grams. For the y-axis title, this is going to be the day number. And then in parentheses, we want to put 4 prime indicates a new piece of wood on the same day. Okay. For the chart title down here, this is going to be weight of termites. And this is going to the x-axis. The x-axis. Okay, so we're going to do day number right here. And this is going to be 4 prime indicates a new piece of wood on the same day. The chart title. All right, so for the chart title, we're going to do weight of termites. For the y-axis, we're going to do weight of termites times 25, and this is going to be also in grams. For the x-axis, we are going to do the day number. Okay, that's what they look like. We'll get back to those. Okay, so for the vigor count, it's going to be a little bit different. We're going to make a scatter plot with smooth lines. So you go to let me repeat that. So you select these three, go to charts, all charts, or more charts, and then you go to all charts, and then go to XY scatter and smooth XY scatter plot. Okay, that's going to be right there. And then what we want to do is the select data again, and we want to edit this series so that it is water treated. So name, the x-axis is going to be the days, and the y-axis is going to be the averages. We want to add another series. This is going to be antibiotic treated. The x-axis is going to be the days, and the y-axis is going to be the averages. Okay, that is your vigor chart. All right, so let's just name it. And we don't need data labels this time. So this is going to be vigor chart, or vigor count. The vigor count over here. And day number. All right, there you go. All right, so now let's look at the data. Okay, so over here you can see a couple things. So let's first look at the wood consumed chart. So we can see on day 2, after 48 hours, roughly 3/4 of the wood was consumed with the water treated, and with the antibiotic treated, only about a fifth of it was consumed. We can see over here on the new piece of wood, and this was the wood that we put back in that was untreated, we can see they also consumed it over here. So based on this results, these two right here, one could conclude that it's either the antibiotic is either acting as a deterrent, as in they don't like to eat it, or a feeding inhibitor, as in they eat it and are unable to digest it. Now, to test this, this is why we put in this piece of wood over here. We put in a new piece, and if they didn't like it here with the antibiotics, when we put in the new piece that was not treated, they should have consumed it. As you can see, they did not consume a sufficient or a significant amount compared to the control. And so it's likely that they are inhibited and we're unable to feed. And so this is correlative, and so we need some more data to answer this. So let's see if they compromise their health by not eating. And so we can see here that the weight of the termites actually was reduced over time compared to the water-treated control. They consumed in the beginning and they gained a little bit of weight, probably from the food they digested. And after 72 hours, they definitely were heavier for the control, versus the antibiotic-treated, it gradually decreased until it got to here. Now, to see if it compromised their mobility or their overall health, that's why we took the vigor count. And the vigor count shows that the water-treated control, they stayed pretty much the same amount of health, versus the antibiotic-treated, where they lost a lot. In fact, most of them died. So this is a pretty good example of why symbionts are important in the termites and in other insects, but specifically in termites because they need the microorganisms to digest the cellulose in the wood. And without it, it gets caught up and blocks them, and they quickly die from malnutrition. So this is a pretty good example of why we need symbionts and why insects do too. All right, thank you.